is the Sci-Fi podcast.
They say that time is the fire in which we burn, especially on the Solar One Sci-Fi podcast. This is episode 105 of the Solar One Sci-Fi podcast. I'm Michael Ball, aka Coquelin. I am joined, as usual, by the demigod of science fiction, by the gods of science fiction. It's Martin Fowler. He's lighting up as well. Hello, Martin.
You know, you've just depressed my entire life with that.
Why? What's wrong with that?
Time is in what we burn. You know how quick this weekend's gone. It does make you wonder if he is right, actually.
I know. It's
I am being serious. It was Friday and then it was Monday morning.
I think at the moment the time's going by really fast anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like 3 weeks from time of recording until Christmas. Well, no, it's not. It's 4 weeks, but it's getting there. And also, we are ignoring the others.
Sorry, Malcolm.
Malcolm
sorry.
Patterson. Hello, Malcolm. How are you?
Hello. All good. All good.
Good. Anything interesting to report from your respective lives this week? Anything interesting you want to share or seen, or before we go into any topics?
No, I've not really seen anything.
Yeah, nothing much been going on my end. Like I said, it's dark 4:30 at night now, which is doing my head in, and time of years are horrible.
Oh, I did see that the colorized version of the Daleks has been removed from BBC iPlayer.
Yeah, they said that.
Why is that?
I couldn't find any reason for it.
No,
or maybe it was just a limited license.
Yeah, did we talk about this before? Because you said, I think, Malcolm, that there's like a licensing laws where they sometimes fluctuate, where it might be that it's taken down and then it's renewed, and it might be back up again in a week's time or something. Like
it's possible.
So I didn't mind it, and of course, did we talk about the colorized new episodes of the War Games coming up?
We kind of stepped on it.
So we've already mentioned about
that.
Very good. Mixed reviews, and it's all going to be cut and hacked to bits and everything else. So I will certainly check it out. I'm interested in if they do the regeneration.
I got a Galaxy Quest on 4K turned up today.
I like Galaxy Quest.
I haven't seen that for years.
I'm really looking forward to watching that.
Hey, I could do another.
It's one of those films. When I saw it, I didn't think it was very good, but then
I loved it.
I kind of watched it again, and there are
brilliant.
some pretty quotable moments in it.
I like it.
I love the Emo's the unknown crew member, the actor,
like the red shirt kind of thing or something.
Yeah, when he's going, I just think he's so sleazy and cheesy. That dude. He's my favourite dude in it.
So what's better, Galaxy Quest or the Orville?
Oh, Orville first season
is much more like Galaxy Quest.
Yeah, and then it got serious. And now Galaxy Quest is Galaxy Quest. Yeah.
Yeah, and then we have Star Trek Lower Decks, which is our Star Trek comedy, which is just not funny, as I've said.
We are getting Orville season 4.
Yeah, apparently it's not gone. It's not going ahead. It's not started, but it's looking positive.
I've got to say again. Any science fiction fan has to watch Rick and Morty.
Yeah, you said that last week.
It'll be the funniest thing you've ever seen. And then even Solar Opposites is great as well. I won't spoil it why, but Solar Opposites has two kind of storylines. One is the aliens that are now living on Earth, and the second storyline is the younger son. Anyone that pisses him off, he shrinks them down and he puts them in a tiny little kind of tank where they've built a world of their own. So the second storyline focuses on that. And if you've got again any basis in science fiction kind of films like like Land of the Giants and all that bit will have you in fucking stitches. It's so funny and it is dark as fuck.
Yeah. We
I got a confession to make. I prepared myself. I watched June 2.
You put me off watching it.
I wish I'd never fucking.
You said it was
bothered.
really slow and it was like not.
I prefer original. At least that had personality.
Well, if I remember rightly, the end of the first film is where he's now on top of the wormy thing, isn't it? With the blue eyes and in control of it. In the David Lynch film. Yeah. That is about the last 20 minutes of the film. So how the fuck did they stretch that into another
the film? David Lynch film. That's the full book. And this one is the same book but in two films.
But did they need to make it in two parts? Could they have just condensed it?
Well, I don't know because the sequel after this is going to be 2 films. So each book is 2 movies. I'm not sitting through that shite. Honestly,
But
all
yeah,
they
but
want, right?
But again,
People are
I
gonna,
understand it's the same storyline as the David
yeah,
Lynch one, but this second film seems to be what they managed to fit into 20 minutes of the first film.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I don't really get how
Basically,
they've done that.
you know the saying when you know in the original, you know when all the powers of the galaxy turn up.
Yeah, vaguely, yeah.
And they're all in that throne room with the Emperor and all that, and he's there, Moadeep or whatever. And at least, I don't know, it's the actors. There's a lot of personality. In this, it's like a lot of that, these big, like, political, they're all toned down. It's him stood in the desert in, like, cinematography posing with his arms out and weird music going on and wind and I was like it went on for 2 hours and 45 minutes
Oh, was it
and
that long? Oh, I don't know if I can
I'm
face
being
that.
serious, mate.
Oh.
All it is a lot of posing. He's like the shot of him walking through desert and
But here's the odd thing. So
ramps
last
are
week
blowing.
we were talking about the fact that they've got to condense 10 episodes of War Games down to an hour and a half because the younger
Yeah.
generation are too
Can't
fucking
watch, yeah, they
stupid to
can't watch
sit
10
through
episodes,
it.
yeah. Yeah.
But and then you take something like Dune and you fucking stretch it out as long as you can with just wank in the middle to stretch it out. What are they thinking?
No, I put it on because when I've had it since when I got it,
I've had it for ages. I've never watched it.
yeah, and I thought I've got to watch this because it keeps coming up on hard drive all the time, and so I went for it Friday night, uh, and I was sat there and I were bored shitless. I was just bored shitless, all of it. And then they've made a fucking TV series of it now.
Oh, well, I don't fancy that now.
All I said of the
A
first
TV,
film or the part one was just when the sets
yeah,
and all of that
Yeah.
are the best part of the film, you've done it wrong. You've literally messed up.
All I remember
Yeah.
about that first one is those cool ships that look like dragon
Helicopters.
dragonfly helicopters.
Yeah.
I thought they were really
They're-
cool.
Ornithopters or something they're called.
Yeah. I actually still don't really remember much about the first movie. It's just it's visually very nice, but
In
Oh,
a
yeah.
nutshell, one family gets given the planet and the keys to spice that everyone needs to travel through the galaxy,
That's
and
it.
then the
That's
family
it.
that had it before does backdoor dealings, comes in and slaughters the
Well-
entire family,
well-
and he goes on the run, finds these people, and becomes a god.
That's
That is
it.
literally
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
That's it.
Yeah, thank you, yeah.
What's the most accurate? Because you know, in the original, you saw the Spice Masters, the guild, that thing in like a machine.
Yeah, the navigators.
Navigator, that's it. Well, they're not in it.
No.
So I don't know what it's like. What's more accurate, you know? But this I want like all them big scenes were so toned down, and even the big war thing at the end, like you know the when they attack everybody, and the Fremen. I just thought, when's this?
Was
gonna
it not really
finish?
good? Was it not really good action scenes and stuff like that then?
Well, they were all right. I prefer original. I think it's the actors as well. I think back then when you got Patrick Stewart and Carl McLachlan and Sting in his leather gruds, it's to try to repeat that scene, and it was like, well, who's this dude? They got this bald-headed dude who's like meant to be Sting, and he's like this great, and he gets murdered, and they're building him up, and all of it's just absolute crap. I'm glad I'm not. That is one I'm not having in the collection. And honestly, I prefer original. That did me.
I hated the original one. I didn't mind part one of
I've
the
got
new ones.
respect for it
How
now.
long ago since you've seen the original?
Oh, I've not seen it for about 20 years.
Watch it again.
About 20 years. Yeah, it's been a good while.
When did you
Yeah.
last see it, Malcolm? Have you seen it recently?
Last year.
All right,
Last
so
year.
you got a more fresh perspective of it.
Yeah. I would say
Okay.
watch it again.
Yeah, all right.
I did like the miniseries.
Oh, the one
Which
in the,
one? There were two.
they
On
made
the
it-
side,
yeah.
I like both of them. I thought they were very good. Yeah, I'd rather watch Dune like that than. I don't need a movie where somebody's posing with music and his arms are out in desert like that. And there's a lot of
You
that.
make it look sound like a pop video or something.
Well, I don't know. Some of it could have take that popping out from behind the rock. You know, I mean, some people liked it. It made big money, didn't it? It did quite well. So, but I mean, I saw the trailer. I think I posted on our page.
Yeah.
the trailer, and I was bored shitless with it.
So that's what you're. If you go into the movie database, you can review it. You can just put in it 3-star. I was bored shitless. Thank you very much, Martin.
Is that out now? Has the series started now? Then
I think they've done about 3 episodes released.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to watch that.
I did read the comments on the Solo One Sci-Fi. Was it Nightmare Man? About comparing. I found it quite funny actually. Rollerball and
Rollerball, yeah.
I read the comment. I couldn't stop laughing.
No, I know.
Oh,
It was and Tristan who runs it. He said that he was a bit underwhelmed with Rollerball. I don't know. They're two very different films, but I can see that. It's one of those things. If you've seen it for a long time and it's watched it repeatedly. The thing is, I've seen Generations for a long time and watched it repeatedly, so perhaps that's why. And also, we're going to the review now anyway. But there are reasons why it's always had a special place for me. So, so maybe we should go into it, folks. Unless there's anything else before we start.
No, all good.
No, I don't think there is. I think that's it now.
No, and the only thing is obviously Skeleton Crew is going to come out very soon, and I'll check it out. I'm not sure if it's going to be any good. It's the only thing new I'm going to be watching in December, apart from the Doctor Who Christmas special.
I saw an Andor trailer over the weekend.
Oh, is there a new trailer?
Yeah.
It's not out for ages yet, so.
No, April.
Oh, is it? That's not that far away. And then there'll be a big gap then.
April 25th, yeah.
That's interesting because I imagine it's 12-part series, so that will.
I have to say, from the clips I saw of it, I did look quite impressed with it.
What did it have in it? Anything?
Stormtroopers pacifying a crowd, him posing and explosions going off.
Oh, I saw a picture of him in like a TIE interceptor or something. He was getting to.
That's the one, yeah.
Oh yeah,
and when he's ready to launch and stuff. Oh, and I saw Cyril as well. He was in there looking stressed.
Was he drinking the green milk again?
No, he's with somebody. He looks very stressed.
Oh dear.
I think his mother kicked him out. So
oh no. Well, maybe. Oh, okay. Well, we'll have to look forward to that. Okay, guys, let's go now. Focus week. Here we go.
It's the
Solar Sci-Fi
focus of the week.
Right, this week we are reviewing a film which has just celebrated its 30th birthday. And it's a film which is based as a sequel to a very well-received TV show in a very big franchise. And at the time, there was already another TV series going, actually another 2 TV series going when it was released. And that, of course, was Starship Generations from 1993. Actually, no, it was only Deep Space Nine at the time because DS9 started in 1995. Before we start, I am a big fan of this film, and I'm very glad we're finally reviewing it because Martin, I'm really going to be interested in his perspectives of this because I don't think he's this film's biggest fan. I'm not sure even if it would go in the collection. But before we go into that potential aspect of the review, Martin, what did you think of Starship Generations from 1993?
Why are you asking me first?
Because I can.
Isn't it better to get Malcolm's positive response?
No. Well,
okay,
no,
right, okay.
Let's go with you, and then we'll ask Malcolm. Go on.
Well, look, I don't think it's a shit movie. I think it's okay. There's parts in it I do like. The problem is, I think they squandered a massive opportunity. And to me, it wasn't good enough for the cinema. It was 2 episodes put together for the season final.
So it didn't feel cinematic, you're saying?
No. And I thought the casting were good. I thought the concepts of the Nexus were brilliant. And but Kirk, I thought it started okay. I thought Alan Ruck, who played that captain on the new Enterprise,
Captain
Harriman, I thought he played it well. And then when Kirk
he was the worst captain in history, though.
Oh, Captain Harriman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was useless. Even I would admit that.
Did you say when he were on bridge, like, just let me take over? He couldn't help it, could he? Like, I know what to do. And what annoyed me was, I think they squandered a big opportunity. I thought the actor McDowell, I thought he was great as Soren. I like Soren as a villain.
And you know that Malcolm McDowell is actually the uncle of Siddiq El Fadil, who played Dr. Bashir in Deep Space Nine.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm sure that's going to benefit and change my life through
Oh, yeah.
knowing
Well,
that.
no, it's trivia. It's a bit of
Utterly
trivia.
pointless factoid.
But you know what? Malcolm McDowell was dragged onto the Deep Space Nine sets, and he really didn't want to go on over there. And Siddiq actually dragged him over to the sets when they were filming Generations. Bit of trivia.
And also, he's the man who will be remembered for killing Captain Kirk.
Yes, yeah, it was. All right, Malcolm.
No, look, seriously, how this should have finished. I think Kirk should have died on the Enterprise. You know, I think they squandered that, and that's what sunk it for me. To treat his character, he should have gone down with the Enterprise, saving the crew, destroyed the Klingons, and Riker were knocked out. Kirk takes charge at bridge, and he rides the ship in. He dies saving everybody. That's how it should have been. Instead, if he got squashed by a bridge, and he said, "Oh, it's been fun," and that was it. It was just fucking pointless. Honestly, I thought Patrick Stewart. I like the thing about his family.
Yep.
I got bored shitless at Nexus when he's having Christmas with life he could never have had.
It wasn't that long a scene. It was only about
I
5
know,
minutes
but I
scene.
didn't want to see all that. He had saved the universe, and he's ratting about in there. And
But
then
it's
there's
Christmas.
Captain Kirk chopping logs and cooking eggs, and it was just all that to me bollocks it all. And I understand Soren's obsession of he will kill planets just to get in there, you know. And I can't blame him. Who wouldn't want to live in eternal paradise? Who would you would risk millions just to do it? You know, his drive is incredible. But how he died were an insult to the character. He got squashed by a bridge and
But
said,
he was separated from Spock and McCoy, which is one thing which was addressed in Star Trek Final Frontier and Star Trek 5, that he said that he wouldn't die because he would only die when he's alone. It was a nice time with that aspect. I know it's not a major connection.
Yeah, I know,
I
but
like
he got squashed by a bridge, mate.
Well,
Scaffolding
yeah, but
bridge.
he helped save the.
I think
he
it's
helped.
the fall that killed him. I think
well,
he
the
fell
fall,
quite
Yeah,
then
it was.
the
It was.
bridge.
Yeah, it was gravity. It wasn't the bridge. Well, the bridge.
Well,
sort of
all
fell on
right,
top of
with
him.
gravity then, right? He shouldn't have died like that. He should have
Either
gone.
way,
He should
it
have been.
absolutely wasn't Malcolm McDowell, and Malcolm McDowell is not the guy that
No,
killed
it
Kirk.
was a bridge.
fucking
It was
mountain.
gravity in the
God's
bridge.
sake.
Yeah.
No, look, he should have died on the Enterprise. When the saucer section
I agree with that.
going in, that's where
Everybody else
Kirk,
evacuates, and Kirk takes
Yeah,
over the controls and
he-
pounds it into the
and
planet.
he destroys the Klingons as well through some Kirk dodgy maneuver, and they wasted it. So Generations, it's not for me. I would see that at cinema. I would have rather have seen that as a season final in season 6. Yeah, it's a 2-part episode, and that's how it goes.
But that's the opening statements from Martin. Thank you very much, Malcolm. Your turn. What do you think about it?
Okay, so I'm not a massive fan of these kind of crossover things. I never think they work. The unification with Spock had a very, very good storyline to it, and there was a good reason why Spock was still there, and that, to be fair, would have made a better fucking film. The 2 parts.
I
of that.
agree.
I can see that. Yeah, I can see that.
The Scotty Ginolan one, yes, I know it was nostalgic to see the old bridge, and it did have kind of an amusing story of how he got there. McCoy being 100 fucking years old to hand over the keys in the pilot was just tweet bollocks. It really was. There was no need for that. But this film, I expected that this film would be one of two things. It would either be shit or it would be amazing. And then I managed to steer clear of seeing any trailers or anything before. So I kind of walked into the cinema not knowing anything. I went with our old school chum, Peter Chapelhow. I went to see it with him. And so the opening bit on the first thing that fucked me off was that the Enterprise B is an Excelsior class. That piece of shit, the failed experiment. That's what you're choosing now to be.
But that
your
was
next
on the
massive
actual.
gunship?
But it was in the ready room. The Excelsior class. It had been well known that
I
was.
understand that, but it doesn't change the taste.
Better than the
of fact
Enterprise
it was
C,
a pile
though.
of shit.
Better than the
And all
Enterprise
that.
C.
And then we've got, so really, this is, I'm sure the Enterprise is the flagship then, but
Yeah.
it is literally a big name. And you've picked that fucking cum stain to be captain? There are no better captains than that to fucking captain your biggest fucking ship? Really? That moron? Then we've got fucking, nothing's ready. You've sent a ship out with civilians on board. that's not even ready. Everything. Oh, it's not
Look,
going to be until Tuesday.
He
That
should have
kind
been
of
set on
humour
Tuesday.
fucks me off.
If he'd have gone
That
out on
kind of humour
Tuesday,
pisses me off. It really, really does. It's stupid, banal, trite nonsense. I'm all right with humour when McCoy says to when McCoy says to Kirk. Oh, sorry, when Spock says to Kirk in Star Trek 4, didn't McCoy give you those glasses? And he goes, yes, and they will be again. That's funny humour. That's kind of the sort of thing
That's
that somebody
time
would
travel,
say.
time restricted
But
humor,
this just fucking staged bollocks is just like. And then I realised we're in just a fucking carry-on film now. Then these fucking ships turn up. So these Elorians have got to be the most tight-lipped fuckers on the planet. All right, because it's like we picked them up. Okay, refugees, where have you come from? Oh, our home world was destroyed. Fuck me, who did that? Yeah, we're not saying. What? We're not going to tell you. Why not? Your home world's just been destroyed, but you're not going to tell us who did it. No, because it'll be far more fun when you meet the fuckers that you don't know who they are and what they can do. That's really amusing to us. So they keep shnoom about who the fuck even attacked them in the first place.
the Federation knew
So
about the
that's
Borg.
bullshit.
They knew about the Borg. Do you know
Really?
why?
Picard, the captain of the Federation starship, didn't know.
Well, they knew something
Don't
about
bring
them.
up Captain
No, he didn't.
Captain
No, he didn't.
Archer.
He went blind into that. He didn't have a fucking clue who they were.
What about Dark
Guinan had to tell
Frontier
him who the
then?
Borg were.
Dark Frontier was a prequel to in Voyager, and that was set about
Yeah,
10,
but they
15
didn't know
years.
they were Borg. They were just an alien.
No, they went out. They had.
I understand they retconned it later on in Voyager.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
knew.
And
But in that
Enterprise.
first one, Q who, whichever one it was, he absolutely did not know who the Borg were. Guinan had to come down and tell him who they were, and warn
Yeah,
him. And even she was cryptic as fuck about telling him.
And that's the other point.
The neutral zone in the season before, they suspected that there was something which had destroyed the.
yeah, that's in the
along
first
the-
season.
Still didn't know they were Borg, though. They
No,
didn't
no,
know
but
they were
I
on
know.
their
Yeah,
database
they-
and
yeah,
go,
all right.
oh yeah, these
And
are the guys who
also-
took those Elorian
also-
fuckers out of the game.
Also, in Q
They should have been preparing for it.
Also, in Q-Ho, right? The Elorians are meant to be made out of this like cosmic sort of race, because Q says you don't know what you've got on board your ship, and then they're all fucking useless, getting on ships getting blown up. Don't forget, she put her hands up to Q like that, ready to attack him with some kind
And she
of power.
knew. She knew he was on the ship. As soon as he appeared on the
what
ship,
I
she
mean?
looks up.
So,
all
and
kind of,
then
he's here.
next minute, they're all fucking like normal people, getting blown up in ship. They're meant to be this cosmic race.
But this is
Yeah, but
the
they're not.
thing.
No, we know they're
When Q
cosmic.
came
though.
on board, she
does
knew
know
exactly who he was,
in
and that he was
Q-Ho.
on board. When
In
when
Q-Ho.
Soren comes on board in that thing, she doesn't suspect him. She doesn't have this mystical. She doesn't see him until he sees her and runs out the ready room.
And
all
when
that.
she sees Q, Guinan, he says you've got an impogen on board. You do not know what you've got on
An
board
imp.
this
An
ship.
imp. Yeah, he refers to
Yeah.
it as an imp.
So and then suddenly her entire race have just been devolved to like us. You know what I mean? It all getting blown up in Starship when she had the power to take a Q on.
Yeah, but
And then
next thing is,
cosmic
like I said
senses as
to you
well.
before, the uniforms bugged me. Up until this point, it seemed that the spaceship people had the tunics that we know of,
Yeah.
and the starbase people had those black with the red things there. Even the cadets have that kind of grey
Similar
with
to
it
the
on the
thing,
top.
yeah, similar,
but the people on ships have the other ones. And now they've not only did they not, but they're wearing the same ones. They switch. Riker wears both in the film.
Yeah.
It's like, hang
You,
on a
the
minute.
picture
So
behind
what?
you, they've got the two
You've got
uniforms.
you've got your new uniforms turn up, but it's up to you.
Yeah,
when
but we know.
fucking
You know
change.
what happened. You know what happened with that, didn't they? They designed a brand new uniform for Generations, and it didn't work out. They for some reason they just thought the design was shit. So they thought, what do we do now? Because we already started actually production, and even LeVar Burton had a few scenes with this new uniform, and even some toys actually featured it apparently. So what do we do? So they just grabbed a lot of the Deep Space Nine uniforms, LeVar Burton.
They actually borrowed
Yeah,
them
actually,
from
Riker is wearing Avery Brooks's captain's uniform. He's actually wearing the one from season 3, apparently. So,
Okay.
yeah, they literally did use the uniforms for Deep Space Nine, because I don't know why they couldn't. If it hadn't worked out, why couldn't they have just stuck with all of them wearing the Next Generation tunics? I don't know why that. That is a good question. I don't
My
know why.
biggest gripe with the film, though, is obviously it's a science fiction show. We are supposed to willingly suspend our disbelief. But Star Trek rules from Roddenberry was always that the science needs to be grounded in actual reality. There needs to be an explainable shockwave for it. This is the film that just went out the window.
Because it's a magical thing.
You guys know nothing about fucking that Viridian missile is a gas-powered missile, chemical fusion that gets to that sun in about 2 seconds.
Yeah, all right.
Fire a missile here. It take 8 minutes to get to the
I know. Yeah, about 5 seconds.
The next big bit is that shockwave would have come all the way out. The gravitational pull won't change until it hits the Amagaza Nexus. So it would have come out, destroyed Viridian 3, destroyed Viridian 4, gone on, then hit the Nexus and changed its course. So Soren wouldn't have got sucked into it. He'd have been fucking destroyed a long time ago when the planet got blown up.
No.
And also,
why doesn't he
just get on a ship,
take on a
sit there in front of it and wait for it to come? They say like any ship that approaches it gets destroyed, right? So first off, don't approach it, let it come to you like you did with the planet. And even if your ship gets destroyed, why the fuck do you care? You're going to the Nexus. You don't care what happens to you. There's not going to be a version of you that's going to fly away afterwards. It's just this whole entire film was just ill thought out. It was like I've always said on these modern ones, it's like, let's make a few cutesy little fucking scenes and then string a kind of movie around them, and we'll just forget that it doesn't really make sense. We just do it. That's what this film was. It was the biggest fucking disappointment on the planet. Yeah, I understand. Martin's right. The Kirk death scene should have been better. Yeah. They did address that at the time and say this is not Kirk's film. He was a guest star in their film, and it's like, but if you're not going to do something big, don't have him in it.
And
basically, don't.
Just one point, the Nexus. Why didn't he just get a fucking starship and go fly into it?
Well, it's supposed to destroy.
That's what I said.
But it could have been. He could have found no need to go through all that.
Well, could he have worn a spacesuit? He could have worn a spacesuit, couldn't he?
Well, one of those jetpack things Spock wears in the motion picture.
Like what Spock
he doesn't care if it gets destroyed because he's in the Nexus where he wants to be, so he doesn't care. Then we have that Kirk does this great thing. This is a big problem with this whole where you can go back somewhere. It's the point he picks. Okay, when will I go back? I'll go back at the point I'm stuck in between two rocks and the guy's fucking firing at me. Not I'll go back a little bit earlier and stop him even launching the first missile, or I'll go back even earlier and stop Rene and do or I'll go all the way back to the fucking Enterprise B incident, stop Kirk being killed, and fucking arrest Soren then.
We've got less than 1 minute before Zoom cuts us out. We're going to go now.
We're going to come back.
And we're going to be back.
It's 20, as long as you're bound by...
I'm going to be literally... we'll be right back to finish it off. See you later, guys. This is hilarious. Bye. Okay, so we're back. Obviously, we have the Zoom thing. We've got about another 15 minutes, and we're going to have to shoot off because Martin's got something on.
Possibly 20. We can.
All right, let's just go as long as we can. Obviously
I've got a couple of quick points then to get in. Go. So the first one was when the ship attacks, when the Klingons attack, and all that. I remember 10 people in the cinema shouted out, "Why don't you just rotate your shield fucking harmonics like we've seen you do a million times?" Which I thought was hilarious. The other thing is. Yeah. Have you seen who Picard's wife was?
Yes, she was a crewman in season 4.
The Hotspur.
She was the one, who lost her husband.
So maybe there was a reason that guy was sent off on a dangerous mission that got him killed. Picard had the Hotspur.
So he fantasized her in the Nexus and created her. That's right. I did recognize her.
I mean, this has been interesting, and
yes,
I do, Michael. You pushed for this film.
I'm never going to watch this film again now after this fucking night.
And Michael, I wasn't expecting this from Malcolm at all. It totally surprised me, and I'm saying you pushed for this film so hard.
I don't care. I like it.
Now
there are two fantastic moments. One, like I said to you the other day, is the crewman that does that backflip over Wharf Station when it explodes. That was some fucking serious stunt work there.
Yeah,
that was awesome. And the second one is obviously the saucer section crashing. I saw a making of on how they did that. So they have a mirror, and then the camera looked at the mirror, and the model literally just flew down until it smashed through the mirror.
Really?
That's how they filmed it. Yeah, it's an incredible piece of
what did
filming.
you think to Data and the emotion chip?
Yeah, no, that can fuck off. I don't. Again, it was just stupid nonsense. I understand the chip's supposed to be going wrong, but he was just too stupid. I understand that's the reason.
Even like the
it,
laughing
but
on the Soren ship was a bit annoying when he kept laughing.
Yeah.
Hello, Mr. Tricorder. Even I found that a bit like, okay.
Look, this were 2 episodes at the end of season 6 put together.
Season 7.
Well, all right, season 7. This how the finish. It were 2 episodes for the season final. It was a cheap way of getting 2 episode budgets. They spent a few more quid on it. Made the money on it, but it wasn't like First Contact.
But didn't it?
Where they saved their money though was where they saved their money was they changed all the Enterprise lighting down to.
Now this is what I wanted
bulbs.
to say. Yeah. Now I thought the lighting, because I mean, the thing is, right, the beginning of the film, it feels like the cinematic, like Star Trek 6. It's got that same feel, and then they went to the Enterprise D sets, which they, as you Malcolm just said, they changed the lighting. It's like they turned down the bulbs. Like in the picture behind Malcolm, there's railings now, so it gave, like normally the ship is shaking, and they can actually hold on to something, and they changed some of the actual.
It's for impact. Where we don't have seats or fucking seatbelts, you fucker.
Yeah, they never had that. They've never had that.
I will say the one bit I did like the bottle of champagne at the beginning.
Yeah, okay.
That was good. When it smacked the ship and the music.
But they changed.
that was wonderful.
They changed the Enterprise D's secondary hull, where it blows up when the Nexus hits it, because they didn't want to damage the original Excelsior model. So they tagged on this bit along the side by the deflector dish, which wasn't on the original Excelsior. So
is that those weird kind of
the fin bits, the bits that stick out? Yeah, that was tagged on the original model because they didn't want to destroy. Okay. That's why it looks like different from a normal Excelsior. It's like an Excelsior 2 kind of class.
Just out of interest, why was Crusher evacuating the medical bay? Isn't that in the saucer section? Are we telling us that the medical bay is down in the secondary hull, as far away from everything as it can be?
Well, wouldn't they have more than one medical bay? Wouldn't they have more than one sick bay?
Well,
it's 2 ships.
They've got
2 bridges. They've got 2 bridges. They've got a battle bridge as well.
There's several medical bays and several transporter rooms. They've got more than one.
I get the transporter rooms, there's loads of them, but medical bays, I'm not seeing it. So she's trying to monitor 2 different fucking patients in different parts of the ship.
It was also to give her something to do because she didn't have much to do in the movie.
And why didn't they evacuate people on shuttles as well?
We saw shuttles at the end of the film, but as you say, we didn't see them evacuate.
Came from the other.
Why didn't they just eject the fucking warp core when it all went wrong? Bosh, eject, done.
Yeah, I don't know why. They said it was a coolant leak, and then it's exactly the same thing as Enterprise. Yes, it's Enterprise, the same thing. They couldn't eject the warp core, and it blew up.
I mean, Michael, what is your defence of this movie? I mean, me and Malcolm, I'm sorry, I feel awful now, but we've totally levelled this film.
Half-built Enterprise B, the only ship defending Earth. Really? No other ship was in.
Yeah, but that's
range.
That's happened a lot of times. A lot of times you've only had one ship in the
exactly, and it's always been stupid.
Yeah, I mean that's not a brand new thing. That's happened many times in Star Trek. It's the only ship in the quadrant in the sector.
It happens in 3 of the films.
Yeah, exactly. So that's not. At least look.
Did Riker do any Riker manoeuvres with his leg going over a chair in this film?
No, I don't think so.
Well, no, he ended up going head first into the view screen at the end when the ship crashed.
Oh, that good.
And you saw him flying towards and he was
I did like the bit where at the beginning where Picard says to him like, "Go and do this." He goes, "Sir, should we just do it?" I thought that was a brilliant scene. I love that bit. I was like, "Oh yeah, just do it."
Yeah. I mean. I did like that. I like the fact that because we met Picard's family, we obviously lost to Robert and Renee, his family, and this. I think that was an important part of the film. That it was the fact that he was very
the brother
jaded.
He hated and the nephew he's only met.
No, but he reconciled it. He said that he reconciled it. Look, I'm going to defend this fucking film. I don't give a shit. I'm going to defend this film.
Well, you're not doing very fucking well so far.
I know, but I was like 2 against 1 tonight.
It's not 2 against 1 at all. You push for this.
I think it's not that bad a film. All right, okay.
No, it's all right. I did like the bit when Picard he got emotional.
This film is better than Insurrection. I'm telling you that now. I thought Insurrection was the
I
worst.
don't know. I think,
Holodeck logic. Holodeck logic.
I
You're
think
in that room. So
Insurrection shit's
when
all
Worf
over it.
when Worf and Crusher get thrown over the side, they seemingly have dropped below the floor of the fucking
they
Enterprise into the next deck. Then when the Arch comes, there's people walking behind it. The Arch is where the door to that room is. There's crewmen behind it. How the fuck does that work? Madness.
Because
it's an iconic character's death here. This film should have been the standout next gen movie.
Yeah.
It should have been Kirk going down with the Enterprise. The saucer set blows the Klingons. Riker gets knocked out. Kirk takes charge. And
Even better.
You know,
in First Contact, how about fucking Kirk is the one who takes the Ball Queen down? Everybody else gets off, and he's the one who goes back and takes her out of the game. That would have been better.
Do it after they give her,
and then he could just release the gas and fucking melt away with her because that's how he fucking. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, he shouldn't. He got squashed by a bridge, man, and he was
no, he fell down. The bridge
and his
fell
last
down.
words
Still
were,
got squashed by a bridge.
And his last words were, "Oh my."
It was fun.
Really? That's the last words. Of all the captains, now we know that the captains are great. You know, Sisko's brilliant, but Kirk is the only one of all the Star Trek captain who's a fucking legend. None of the others are. They're all very good. They're all very well known. They're all great at what they do. He's a fucking legend. He has saved the entire galaxy. He's saved the universe. He's saved the fucking planet. Every fucker in Starfleet reads about his exploits. He is the #1 captain of the entire fucking Starfleet system. And they fucking pissed him away like that.
You know, one of the worst things in it is really cringeworthy, because I've watched this the other week because of all this, is when Soren's on his scaffolding. I mean, he could have got a better installation, just all that scaffolding, right?
Yeah.
It's like he stood behind him on bridge, and he turns around and he's like, well, where the fuck have you come from? Like, he didn't even, he's like going like, well, it's...
How about a chokehold? Or kick his fucking leg out or something?
I mean, look,
You've literally snuck up behind the bloke and then announced your presence. Idiot.
They fucked this film up. It is, I'm sorry, Insurrection.
Malcolm
you know
McDowell was brilliant. Malcolm McDowell has the same problem that a lot of the recent MCU villains have, is that nobody told him he was in a fucking parody farce. He still thinks he's in a genuinely fucking dramatic film and played it that way. Yes. Everybody else realised it was just Carry On Star Trek.
It was 2 episodes of a season final. They put a few more quid in it to make it look good. I mean, I like the 2 Klingon ladies. But I thought they're great. I thought they were standard villain. Soren's the brain behind them. But come on. I agree with Malcolm. When the minute the first photon torpedo penetrated their shields, why didn't they change the frequency of them? And that's when Riker gets knocked out, Kirk's on the bridge, and that's it. Picard's down on the planet having a punch-up with him.
Wolf, fire a full spread of torpedoes. Aye, sir. And he fires one. Has he forgot what the word fucking full spread means?
And he's meant to be like the security military genius, you know what I mean? It's a terrible film. I'm sorry. I saw this at the cinema. And
the guys who wrote this didn't actually write it. They got their kids to write it while they were at school.
It was a cash grab.
Who wrote it? Who wrote it? Who wrote this one? Was it Ronald D. Moore? Was it one?
I think it was, yeah.
It was Ronald D. Moore's Goldfish.
Yeah, but Ronald D. Moore did. I mean, he's a great writer.
He is Battlestar, yeah.
All right, okay. So obviously, there's a lot of criticism. So, why do you think it went wrong? Do you think it was rushed because of the Next Generation?
They were rushed. They were on the original 6 films had rolled up. Next Gen, biggest Star Trek in years. That were finished. Deep Space Nine were growing. Voyager were a year or so away. And they had to keep it alive. So
and to be fair,
they rushed it. They didn't
really know what they wanted to do. So it was all done as, we'll have Kirk brought on board to kind of make the changeover to movies. Why? We didn't need that. We've all seen there's just 7 seasons. They are ripe for their own movie. Just bring it on. So now they bring Kirk on board, and it's like, oh, but we can't have him be the main character. So then they put him into a back position, riding horses and making fucking scrambled eggs and stuff. I don't know. They didn't know what they wanted to do.
Ridiculous.
What? Scrambled
But
eggs?
he's out there chopping wood, and he's like, like you Captain fucking Kirkman. You're in this fake reality, and you've not. He would not want to be trapped in there. His mindset in the old original series when they put him in fake places and other like weird shit, he always fought against it. He would not have accepted it. And like Picard gets offered paradise, and then suddenly there's another guy, and in there there's I can help you get back. Do you know what I mean?
But not at any point that is really useful to you. I'll put you back just at the exact moment you don't want to go. Not an hour before, not 2 hours before.
That's the moment he chose to go back. He had
why? He's a lot more intelligent than that. I don't know why. Why did he pick that moment?
She was like some image of Guinan that just happened to be in there. She was
an echo of the Guinan that went back from the Nexus.
But then explain to me why Q was scared of her. And her entire
but did we ever see that? But we never saw Guinan's powers. We never saw any Elorian powers. We just knew that they lived on for a long time.
And I mean, Kirk,
do you know
to be fair, Q wasn't really scared of her. He just didn't like her.
No, I mean, he wasn't scared. I don't think that's quite right. He wasn't like the Emperor or something. Do you know, like electricity coming from her hands or anything? Do you know what an Elorian ability is in Deep Space Nine? There's that Elorian that gets your Martus. We have the guy.
All the Elorians can do is listen to you. The good.
Yeah, they're not. So that's why I don't know why Q was acting afraid, but I think he was just taunting. I think he just.
Well, no, because they were terrified he were going to end up talking to her for the next 2 centuries, telling her about his problems. Yeah, that's all they do. That's all. No wonder he wanted out. He'd had enough of doing it. Please do not tell me.
Elorians aren't powerful. They're just listeners.
And they got conquered by Bog. I thought they were so adamant because she said to Q and QO, they're not ready yet. Yet these Bog came in and conquered their entire race. I mean, they rushed this. They put it out like, we need to make money quick. And the entire budget went on William Shatner riding off.
Yeah, I actually think. I think a lot of the money went to William Shatner. Now, you do know that Leonard Nimoy and DeForest Kelly were both approached to be in the film as well. And they both declined.
And then they read the script and fucking ran.
Well, it might be that. I don't know. All I know is in the end we only had Walter Koenig.
I do know. I've never read them, but William Shatner wrote 2 or 3 books.
He did some sequels.
I've read them, yes. The Return.
What they like.
It's all him. And
well, as of Picard season 3, they are now non-canon because we know Shatner's remains end up in. And just out of interest, so you hauled his ass all the way by yourself, all the way up a fucking mountain to the very top to then bury him. And it's just like, really, you're not gonna get the guys to take his remains back. His family might not want him.
In the book, the Romulans steal his body.
Oh, I remember hearing
about that. They put Borg nanites into him and bring him back. And he's running around in the 24th century. And it all concludes with, guess who's the Emperor in the Mirror Universe? Who's in charge of the Alliance?
Sula.
Here's another one. Scotty very definitely knows that he's dead. Chekhov walks out and says, was anybody in there? Aye. He knows Kirk's dead. He's seen it. So years later, when he wakes up on the Janolan, they say, we're from the Enterprise. I bet old Kirk got the ship out of mothballs to come and get me.
I know,
really? You've forgotten he was fucking dead?
Yeah, because obviously they filmed that. They did that after they did.
No, we don't want any fourth wall nonsense. We need writers who know that and see it coming.
Yeah. No, it's all good. But I mean, Michael, what is your defense of this film?
I don't know. Look, I just when I watched it, I just liked the fact that the Next Generation were on the big screen and it was slightly updated. The look at the ship. I like the fact that in some ways, Kirk was alone and he was going to die without his friends, which he always said he was going to do. I admit what Malcolm said about Kirk saving the Enterprise D or something. That would have been really good. And I freely admit that there are 1 or 2 very, very tiny plot holes and inaccuracies.
1 or 2!
Minuscule, which I will actually ignore.
1 or 2!
all right, I still like. Look. I can't. What can I say? I mean, some of the stuff that I've watched with you, Martin, has been absolute fucking horseshit.
I
And
know, I agree. I don't deny it. And
so, all right. So do you think this is right? So
goes in there.
you think this is the weakest of the Next Generation movies?
No, Star Trek 5's the weakest.
No, Next Generation
No, he
movies.
said next gens.
Yeah,
100%.
I think
No,
Insurrection.
sorry. Nemesis is the worst.
Oh yeah,
I can watch this. I can't watch Nemesis at all.
I think.
Shite.
All right. Okay. I'm sorry, guys. I'm going to do. I think I did a poll on the Next Generation movies ages ago on YouTube to see which was voted, and Generations was quite high up. If I can find it on my channel, it was a while ago, and I honestly, most people rated Generations as the second best Next Generation movie.
Well, I would go First Contact, Insurrection, Generations, Nemesis.
Yeah.
And I would go First Contact, Generations. Hang on. No. Yeah, First Contact, Generations, Nemesis, Insurrection.
Really? I really liked Insurrection. I
liked Insurrection. I loved it.
I mean, are you two actually from a mirror universe or something? How come we're so like...
Well, I don't know. We're not coming across as if we're like...
No, I'm glad. Oh, no, seriously. I've always liked this movie. I was sure I did a poll ages ago. I'm just trying to find it.
The film is not all bad. It does have... It could have been so much more. And that's the problem. I think the story, even the next, I think all that works, but it should have been, they should have put the budget into it, and they should have done so much more with it. They had the potential. I think it would have been better waiting a bit longer after next gen and then bring it out. You know, they rushed it. If
they'd have put more money into it, where would you like to have seen the money go?
The script.
The scripts. I'd like to, you keep the Nexus, and I think the death scene would have been Kirk and the Enterprise. Picard having a punch up with him on the planet. The Klingons getting done. I'd like War to have been on Warbird killing all of the Klingons. They'd have loved it.
But we've always before time travel has always been one of Star Trek's biggest draws, and there's always been a reason for it. You know, the slingshot around the sun, which is nonsense, but the slingshot around the sun and all of that, or the Bajoran orb. There's always been some sort of reason why they've gone back in time. Transporter accidents. Now suddenly we have to have a wavy magic fucking. I mean, this is why the film is fantasy. It's not science fiction. Right. It's science fantasy. You know, nonsense.
I found the poll, so I did this 9 months ago.
Okay.
This is how long ago it was to finally persuade you two to actually join me. This is 9 months ago. Doing a forthcoming podcast reviewing a Star Trek Next Generation movie. Of the four, which is the best? Star Trek Generation is obviously the foot. Do you want the actually okay? So 68% voted for Star Trek First Contact.
Right.
16% voted Generations. 12% voted Nemesis. And 4% voted Insurrection, exactly the order that I would have put it on. And that's out of 146 votes. So there we go.
That's interesting.
Look, in the end, I am a huge Star Trek fan. I always have done. I mean, I'm not into a lot of the modern stuff because, you know, Discovery really just... I mean, surely you think that Generations is better than Discovery?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, God, yeah.
Anything's better than Discovery.
But I mean, when we're talking continuity errors, even within their own film, they didn't seem to know what was going on, because earlier on they say that they cannot remove Data's emotion chip because it's gone wrong and fused into him. But later on in the film, Troy says to him, "Oh, you've decided not to have it removed." "Oh no, I'm going to keep it." And go, "Wait a minute, 2 hours ago you couldn't remove the fucking thing." You know, so they didn't even maintain continuity in their own film.
Yeah, there's that moment in the film when he says to Picard, when Picard says to him, "I've switched my emotion chip off," and then Picard goes,
"You're lucky," or
"I really envy you, Mr. Data." You know.
Yeah.
No, Generations. Yeah. It's not the worst movie I've ever seen. It's an enjoyable.
It was more a missed opportunity than a bad film.
Would
you know, it could have been so much better.
Do you rate it better than the Kelvin timeline movies?
Yes.
Yeah.
So if you're saying that, so out of the how many movies have done now? Is it 12, 13? So you're saying it's right near the bottom of obviously the Next Generation era, but it's better than First Contact? or not? Obviously, not First Contact.
First Contact.
No, I mean Final Frontier. Final
the
Frontier.
Kelvin.
I meant Final Frontier.
Final Frontier. I'd put them about equal in my liking. I don't think Final Frontier is that bad a film, to be fair. It does have stupid humour in it. I'll give you that. But that's probably one of the only flaws of it.
I'd just put
For
it.
me, anyway.
I'd put it a bit above Star Trek 5, but not much.
Okay.
I think it were more missed opportunity. But, there was some good concepts in the film. I mean, I liked it with Picard and his family. I liked all that. I liked the scene on the boat, when they were all on the Enterprise sailing ship.
But do you remember
I loved all that.
when they go, there's evidence of trilithium, and Riker goes, trilithium? Yeah, do you remember that stuff they tried to nick from the fucking Enterprise that it makes? That stuff.
Yeah.
That's you don't know what that is. You've never heard of it before, even though they tried to steal it. So just common criminals have heard of it. You moron.
Oh,
it's just
That's season 6
you're
episode. Yes.
So why couldn't the Klingons create their own trilithium from their own warp core?
Well, that's called a plot hole, I guess. I think also we should wrap things up because I know Martin's going to shoot off in a minute.
I've got 5 minutes.
All right, let's go 5 minutes.
5 minutes.
I think that from my perspective, when I watched it, it was right in the midst of what I call the golden era of Star Trek, where we had the Rick Berman era, I think for me, I was still kind of on a high from the end of the Next Generation series. And that Deep Space Nine was continuing like as a parallel thing, and it was almost like and I know Malcolm's not so much into the crossovers, but I that's another thing. I do like crossovers. I do.
Yeah,
I like the universe to be a bigger thing.
Yeah.
To me, it makes it more. This is why I don't like a lot of the more modern stuff, because you don't have so many crossovers.
My only real problem with crossovers is they never really. Well, they rarely have a coherent reason for it happening. It is always just let's do it because we can. Let's just do it because the guys are here that day and we can get them all together. It's never really a sensible reason for the crossover, or very rarely is it sensible. Unification was bang on to have Spock arrive. That was brilliant.
Did you think this was better than Picard season 1 and 2?
I do, yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Generations were better.
What about season 3, which actually talked about Viridian? I mean, they actually mentioned Viridian 3 that because of the Prime Directive, they went back and took the Enterprise D's saucer, which I thought was a bit of a.
I still feel that Picard season 3 is more of a homage than it is an actual TV series. It's quite hard. It's quite hard.
It's the only time it got viewers when they brought them all back.
Yeah, exactly. It's a common theme in modern stuff.
Michael, I was like you back in the 90s. I was started obsessed. It was my life. It was a big thing to me. Yeah. Renting it out, recording it, buying it. It was there for about 15 years of my life, and it was there. And I just think what we're getting now is really, apart from Strange New Worlds, it's like a shadow of what we got.
Oh yeah,
but again, Strange New World, I didn't rate the second series that much at all. There were a couple of good episodes, but the rest of it I found pretty boring, if I'm honest.
I don't think it was as good as season 1.
I think season 1 was better. I think season 1 was better.
Yeah.
I like the Anar character, the engineer. I was surprised he was killed off.
I was gutted when they killed him off.
But I think also one thing which is harder, and obviously we are finishing up here, is that modern series, they only have 10 episodes per season, which I think is just too short. That's not enough in a whole season to get what you want out of it, because every season is going to have weaker episodes. But if you don't like a lot of the stories in just 10 episodes, like for you, Malcolm, with season 2, then you're not going to, have much of a focus.
No. It's like season 1 of the Next Generation and even Deep Space Nine. A lot of those episodes are skippers for me. If I'm
they're both weaker.
I'm not watching that one. It's not until I get to sort of season 3 that I start. I mean, there were some really good episodes in the first 2 seasons, but it's season 3 where I really start to stop skipping episodes.
Yeah, I know what you mean. All right, guys. Well, let's just obviously just confirm. Let's put it to bed. So, would it be on your shelves to keep?
Yes,
it has to be. I'm a completist. It's got to be.
I'm a completist.
Yeah. And out of 10, what would you rate it, guys?
6.
Okay, that's higher than I thought for you. Actually, I reckon Malcolm's going to say 4. Go on, what are you
No,
gonna
I
say?
reckon six is. I reckon six is about fair because we have been unusually unkind because of the limited time of just battering the stuff we didn't like because there was so much of it. We haven't really highlighted the stuff that was really good. Like
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know.
I
Well,
think
the,
that-
cha- the
Diana still
champagne
looks like a
bottle.
babe.
The
Well, I'm
champagne
gonna
bottle.
give it a 7.5. I think so. I think that for me, like I said, it was the time that it was made, and I also still think that although I liked it, I still, as we've already just said, compared to a lot of the modern stuff, which is just shite compared to it. So
Oh, it's still Star Trek. It's still Star
this
Trek.
is still Star Trek. It
I
still fits
also,
in the canon.
Yeah.
I also think, like, really, the ship gets destroyed, and you're telling me that Worf is the only person who gets reassigned. Everybody else ends up on the new Enterprise. They wouldn't have all just been divided out into other ships.
They
as soon
gave
as it
some
went
weird
down.
reason for the Way of the Warrior. Why he went back to that monastery planet.
Borat.
Yeah,
didn't
he
he?
went
Borat.
out. So he was on a sabbatical and all that, but the rest would have been reassigned to other ships. They may have had a break, but there's no reason there's no way they're having an entire starship
No,
crew,
but
and
it was
particularly
this-
bridge officers of that experience sitting around twiddling their
Yeah,
thumbs.
but
It would take a
was
year to
Cisco.
make a new ship.
Built.
It would take a year to
It,
make a new ship.
it was Cisco who wanted him, so they might have given him new orders, like, you know.
But yeah, but all of them would have had new orders. They would have all been reassigned.
Yeah, I mean the chance of them all being on the new Enterprise E, which would have been at least a year and a half later. Yeah. Oh well, look, it's a plot. Oh, what can I say? Thank you guys. I'm not sure what we're doing next week. We might be doing Arrival if you both.
I'm up for that. I love Arrival.
Let's do Arrival because that's. I need to rewatch
I
that.
need to watch it again. So I'm gonna have to.
So I'm going to
have to
watch
hunt
that
that one
this
down.
week.
Okay. Well, I've certainly I've only seen that
Yeah.
one once, but I did like it. So thank you very much, guys. That was certainly quite a energetic episode, but I do appreciate you coming on board. And Martin, we've finally done it. You can cross it off your list. You never have to think about that movie ever again.
Yeah, I remember
All right.
between
Well,
now
all
and
right.
next week. Between
I'd
now and
like-
next week, 4 episodes of Rick and Morty. Trust me,
Oh.
once you've seen 4 episodes, you will be so into it.
How-
It is-
but-
the guy who does it is a genius in his references to sci-fi. Not just
I saw-
sci-fi, but any kind of cult film. He's
I
just so
just-
good at it.
I'd just like you to know we didn't team up on you tonight, Michael.
No.
I'm shaking after this episode. It's like, Cheers,
Having
guys.
a
Thank you
drink.
yeah, I probably listen. Thanks, guys, very much. It's been a good
No
one.
worries.
We'll see you next week on the Solo One Sci-Fi Podcast.
All right, guys. Have a
Cool.
great week.
Well,
See you next week. All
Time is
right.
the fire in
later.
which we burn,
Live long and
guys.
prosper. Yeah.